And
to
we're
now see
live
if we
today
make
on
those
the Metal
jokes.
Lab, and Jay is trying to make a Major Force joke about Kyle Rayner, I'm sure, at my expense, because I've told that joke how many times, and Major Force is on his way out. So today we are joined by
5,000.
Tom, who I just missed his evil face.
Cheers.
Jordan.
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Oh boy. This is going to be one of these weekends. And Jay.
L'chaim.
Welcome back, guys. This week, as always, we're brought to you in part by HC Realms. Check out hcrealms.com for all your Heroclix needs with regards to the discussion. And the unit section is probably one of the most useful tools you'll ever see, as we use it ourselves to post up the pictures of our teams that we make every week on our Facebook. That said, as well, you also have a little shop that you can go if you check out realmsgaming.com, where you can buy all kinds of neat Heroclix accessories, Heroclix-related paraphernalia, and cool maps that were used in the ROC. You don't get the cool prize map format, but you do get paper versions of very neat-o maps. One of which was actually used this past weekend on the Geek and Sundry Friday stream. They used the Arctic base, and I think that's where we're going to start our conversation. After I discuss the fact that no, new subscribers are not going to get us to dance. You will get us to go, oh my, we hit a certain number of subscribers. We aren't dancing for new subscribers. But we might, if it gives us new subscribers.
Yeah, it does.
But that's the difference between a YouTube subscriber and a Twitch subscriber. A Twitch subscriber is paying, whereas a YouTube subscriber is more like a Twitch follower, and you just kind of get updates when you get our show. All right, I'm done that rant. That said, myself and Amber took a chance to watch the Geek and Sundry live stream on Friday, and we're lucky enough to catch Scott Porter play with some new stuff from Superman and Wonder Woman. And thinking that all this cool stuff that I was watching, snapping screenshots and getting them ready to put up on the Facebook page, and then all that work got, shown that it was practically worthless because they showed all the figures today on Heroclix.com. Ha ha! But I did have a chance to see the figures played, so when we're actually opening up the discussion on that, we're going to talk about that. As well, we have the Salt Lake City Comic-Con Regional occurred this weekend. Nick Fury sealed. There was a lot of figures in a lot of teams, as Nick Fury sealed tends to yield. Nick Fury sealed tends to... Oh my goodness, this is just rolling off the tongue today.
Yep.
As well, this week we talk Arrowette and teams with her. So, that said... have you guys had a chance to play this week?
No. I'm still in the middle of my extremely busy 2 weeks of not doing anything except work and this podcast.
No. And Jordan, have you played recently? Jordan!
I can answer for him because we played together.
I played a couple games at Jay's house. Nothing too major.
All right. Jay?
We played a couple games at my house, and Jordan almost murdered me, and that was fun. I played Trinity War Green Arrow for the first time with Entity and the White Lantern Corps, and I energy exploded, dealt like 20 damage in one hit, and it was fun. And then he almost burned my house down.
Yeah, I've had games like that. In fact, one of the guys I first taught how to play the game, I had to run across the yard when I beat his Batman up with my Captain America, because Ultimate's Captain America was the best thing ever created. All right. Now, that said, as we started this week with the Geek and Sundry podcast, HCRL or Heroclix.com, WizKid's own website for Heroclix, decided they were going to share some of the previews with us. So if we check it out here, boom. So here's the site, Heroclix.com. There's a Geek and Sundry, or Heroclix, DC Heroclix, Superman, Wonder Woman on Group Hug. Group Hug being the show that they stream every Friday at twitch.tv/Geek and Sundry. Now, some new stuff got shown. This young lady here, her name was Erica. Thank you, Amber. She watches more regularly than I do. Was playing a team consisting of Red Tornado, Huntress, and Power Girl. Now, this is the lowest lane Red Tornado, and of course the Earth. I believe these are the Earth 2 versions of Huntress and Power Girl.
World's Finest.
Yep. Yeah, courtesy of the World's Finest from the New 52 books. We have this cool super rare Superman, Wonder Woman, and the Superman Batman robot. And on the sideline was Ulysses, Superman 2, and the Superman blue. Now, these got shown, I think, for the sake of being shown, and the fact that they have a trait that works with Superman, but it just kind of sat on the side of the game for the entirety. But these figures did get played, and I got a chance to see them used, and now they have shown us everything about them. So let's start with Red Tornado. So Red Tornado has a trait. She can use Force Blast normally or as a free action. When she activates Force Blast, after action resolved, if the target character is still adjacent to her, deal that character 1 penetrating damage. So this is in that case where you use Force Blast and either bump them into a very close wall, or they happen to have charge or combat reflexes and they're going to be sticking around anyway. They ignore the knockback itself, but not the fact that you use Force Blast.
Anybody remember Justice from Avengers Assemble?
No.
Yeah.
That would be so fun. At the beginning of the turn, have her use her version of that, then ID card call him in, he does it, 2 penetrating damage with no rolls, and you reposition them. That'd be fun.
Yeah. It's like the new lamp, only with Force Blast, like lamp.
Lamb. Lamb. You're just bouncing.
Yeah.
A delicious flan.
Also, she comes with printed on her card the Wonders of the World ATA. Give a character using this team ability a power action to heal an adjacent friendly character 1 click. Heal 2 clicks instead if the adjacent character has the Wonders of the World keyword. Deal the character given the action 1 unavoidable damage, and it is 5 points. Now, this is very similar to the old X-Men team ability, except it doesn't have the mandatory, they must have this team ability to use it in the first place. You just get a bonus if they happen to have the keyword. Is it keyword? Yeah, keyword. So, if you find a way to...
But you also don't have the rollout of the damage aspect.
Right. But originally the X-Men team ability didn't have that rollout.
Mm.
Like when it first came out, like Infinity Challenge rules, that rollout didn't exist. So this is very similar in that vein.
Well, and you've also got the ability to heal 2 damage, which is kind of awesome. As you mentioned, that's 5 points, and how much does she cost?
95 points.
Don't you love that? That's good design.
That's smooth. Oh, like butter. And we all saw it start in Nick Fury with this 5-point end cap or 0-point end cap, and it seems to be continuing as we talk about Huntress.
Yeah, I like that.
Hold
Huntress.
on, I want to talk about the ATA. It says if you don't have the keyword, well, don't you have to have like the keyword to get the ATA?
It's the adjacent character they're interrogating for that.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Interrogating.
But it's like, you're going to make a theme team that's not that theme and add that ATA. It's like, that's really cheesy.
There exist effects where you won't be able to start a character with the Wonders of the World keyword. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there might be something that artificially gives a character the Wonders of the World keyword, right? We don't know that.
That's very true.
So we're not sure. We haven't seen everything to know that it's just covering all bases in case of kind of idea.
I like the idea that you can use it as a robot with Justin and just get Justin to move her up 9 squares, then sidestep, then free action Force Blast for some penetrating damage.
Yep. And then you can make an action.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man. All right. So next up, we have Huntress. Huntress comes in at a smooth 60 points. Very colorful dial. With a trait, friendly characters named Power Girl modify their combat values by +1 if they have a power or ability countered. She ignores hindering for movement, comes with the ATA printed on the card. It's the same ATA as before. But otherwise, what you see is what you get. A little lacking in the willpower central, but at 60 points, I guess we can get away with it as far as a figure is concerned. Open up the table, guys.
Jason, what makes 60 points smooth?
Well, the fact that ever since Nick Fury, everything ends in a 5 and a 0. Plus, I did want to talk about her curves also helping the smoothness. But
well, you can also say that if you play exactly 5 of them, then you've got your 300-point team.
Yep.
That's smooth.
Absolutely. But Tom, what do you think of this figure?
I like her. I think that trait is about as situational as you can imagine. Not only do you have to team her up with Power Girl, but then you have to be playing a Power Girl that people want to outwit which, other than defensively, Power Girl doesn't tend to come with too many things that you're really desperate to. I mean, it's not that it'll never happen, but I would rather have just seen, modify her attack value by +1 all the time than all of her combat values in an extremely situational basis. But that's a minor quibble. I think she's really cool for 60 points. Perma-stealth, in addition to super senses, is always nice. Sidestep, and she's a little bit all-purpose with a short range and combat reflexes towards the end, so that it helps her if she's in close, along with flurry is also good for being close. Precision strike works no matter what, so I mean, I don't know what you want to say. It's all good. I think that it's at 60 points, it's nice and economical and round. It's just a bit of a short dial and unspectacular. So I don't know exactly how you'd really milk this for ultimate meta potential, but I enjoy just well-rounded figures that are fun to play in large numbers just for swarmy type purposes and as a tertiary attacker. So she's cool.
And always fear that mid-dial Blades and Flurry on a 60-point figure. Especially with Outwit on the second instance of Blades and Flurry.
Good.
That could get terrifying in a hurry. Jay?
Pretty much the same. Although as far as the Power Girl thing goes, outwitting Super Strength on a character that has Super Strength is almost like perplexing them down, their damage by 3. So, like, could happen.
Yeah.
Or get rid of their defense powers, and then she gets +1 defense.
At least it's not based on adjacency, because we have had a lot of those powers that give a boost only if they're next to each other. And
Right.
I like the fact that this boost at least works anywhere if they're anywhere on the field. That's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And it can go a long way to not have to worry about energy explosion and just to get the bonus. But that said,
But the problem with her is that if you're talking sealed, this set there's going to be so much Superman allies, so she's essentially not going to have the stealth.
True.
And two things that come up in our last conversation just now, boom, Superman team ability and Power Girl all in the same figure. So Power Girl comes with a trait. Friendly characters named Huntress can use toughness. So if you look at them as 200-point unit, you have a character with toughness and super senses, which is incrementally better. Not much, but incrementally. She's got another color-based style. Now, I want to point out these are both common figures, and ever since the announcement that WizKids has said they're going to be taking it easy on complexity for lower-end characters, and complexity is going to be in the higher rarity figures. We're already starting to see nothing super special outside of the traits on these characters, and the traits are situational to the point where you need another character on the board. This one comes in Kryptonian Scientist, Wonders of the World keyword, Superman team ability, which is amazing in a lot of situations when it comes to sealed. 7 range, Indomitable Flight, 140 points, and of course the Wonders of the World TA. So what do you think, Jordan? Right on the
I don't
spot.
know. I'm not too much of a fan of the downward creep, because they don't seem to be downing attacks in the slightest, just defenses. And damages have become an average of 3 for tertiary attackers, not 2, because of the increase in defense ability. So, like, for Power Girl, she's like half your build and, like, will die. But huge Power Girl fan, so, like, gonna play her, but not gonna enjoy it.
For some reason, I keep seeing her as a new addition to my scientist pool.
No, that's why you play this monster, scientist.
All right, Jay, let's hear your thoughts on this one.
It's a bit of a hefty investment, considering that it starts with an invincible, which can be pinged. Likelihood of what you're seeing in the set is a lot of super strength bruisers, so they will hit her for that big 6 and hit her to toughness. So not much of a fan, even though I've been looking forward to a solo Power Girl piece since Brave and the Bold.
Yeah. Well, you certainly didn't enjoy that one. So.
My actual hope is that either this set, because they're toying with us, or Superman and Wonder Woman, we're going to get a super rare version of Huntress and Power Girl.
Well, this is from the Superman and Wonder Woman set.
Oh, I meant, sorry, Superman and Batman, the other DC set that they announced.
Yeah, we could. It's a very, very high possibility. Tom?
Well, it's okay. I must say, any version of Power Girl that's playable is a version of Power Girl that I'll be happy to get my hands on.
Right.
She's always shit upon. Like, it's historically, she has so many bad dials. It's hilarious. She just collects them. Unfortunately, this doesn't really improve on that very much. I want to like her. I wonder how much, considering the rest of her dial is very much geared towards close combat, with the exception of that little bit of hypersonic. I mean, that's the only thing that really works well with it. Charge is for close combat. Super strength is usually for close combat. I guess you could throw an object, but by and large, with a big bruiser starting with charge and super strength, you want to get in close and smack with an ultra heavy. You got close combat expert at the back of her dial. I mean, it's very much built around close combat, and I wonder how many points are being spent just to give her that 7 range. It's character accurate. I like that. I like that they give her range, and the Superman ally is cool with it. But she's not well optimized for using range, and I wonder if that's why I feel like she's just too many points. I'm glad that her dial doesn't fall apart badly as it goes down, because that's another another Power Girl trend is making her top heavy, and I've always thought that was a joke. Like, I've always thought that was the gag, was why they made her dial fall apart, was because she's top heavy, guys. Get it?
But she's actually a brawler.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
You know what? What I thought when I saw this was they literally took World's Finest, they chopped off Huntress, and they were like, okay, 150 points. How do we make this actually worth 150 points and not super, super, super undercosted as the World's Finest piece? And then they made this, which is, when you look at the stats, pretty similar. Power's pretty similar. And then it was just like, wow, there's no way we can put top dial hypersonic speed, 18 defense, like, and all this crazy shit on a character who only costs 140, 150 points. So they made it a 140-point brawler.
I also think that if they were going to choose which figures to preview, then it was unusual they chose to show us 3 Wonders of the World characters who happened to work out to not being able to play at 300 points with the ATAs in question.
Mm-hmm.
It works out perfectly for a 310-point team with this particular combination of 3. And
Yeah.
I just wonder, if you want to showcase your pieces, maybe try to put together the combination that's going to make it look like you designed it with team building in mind. Because it just seems a bit like a lost cause. Frankly, I would pay 130 points for this Power Girl and not feel in any way like I was getting a deal for it, and then I could play it. But that's a minor point.
Well, I think that they mentioned that, like, this is the team that the person decided to play in the show.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily dictated by WizKids.
No, I'm not. I guess that it became
But this is a DC set, so as we know it, it very surely was.
Mm-hmm.
They were told you play these figures against these figures, and they you say these words.
One of the things you'll notice about the Geek and Sundry stream, and I'll just kind of getting that out there right now, they don't use resources, they don't use ATAs, they don't use stuff outside of the figures. They're pretty much been they don't use point values, right, Amber? They're very kind of loose and strange with some things that we're more familiar with. So I'm pretty sure the ATA wasn't even something that was even taken into consideration for team building. Even Scott's team, Scott being obviously the experienced player when we watched him on the table, his team was still just strictly characters. So no extra bits other than the sideline for extra preview bait, to say the least. But we've talked at length about Ms. Power Girl. Let's talk next about Superman. Now, Superman, we're going to start off with his trait. The odds are against me. At the end of your turn, as Superman was given a non-free action this turn, an opposing force has more characters on the map than your force, place an outnumbered token on this card. Give Superman a free action, remove 2 outnumbered tokens from this card, and make a close combat or range combat attack. He starts with the 3 clicks sidestep with a special power. Special power on his attack is Superman can use super strength. When Superman hits a character with a close combat attack and the attack roll is 10 or higher, you may knock back that character a number of squares equal to that attack roll, ignoring all terrain along the path, destroying all blocking terrain along that path, and deal that character damage equal to the number of walls and number of squares of blocking terrain destroyed, maximum 5.
So Superman hits you so hard you no-clip through the map, ignoring elevated even.
Basically.
He hit you so hard he breaks the source code.
Yeah.
Or the source wall.
I like the fact that they put the trait in there to sort of subtly stop you from just wanting to team up with every single prob controller you can find.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to do it.
When I think Superman, I think underdog, yeah.
Well, one of the things Scott did mention in passing during the stream was that Superman isn't the only character with this trait in the set.
Right.
So there are other characters that have a very similar trait to the odds are against me. Jordan, what are your thoughts?
You just have to play him with TK.
Yeah.
He's 175 points with 3 clicks of movement powers and dial.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, hypersonic speed, in my opinion, is my favorite movement power, but I mean, sidestep kind of is a movement power, but not when you're a brawler.
Yeah. One thing I'm noticing too is the trend in this set, and you'll see it in a little later, is they're trying to make all the Supermans like work on a team now. At 175 points, you can still have a lot of room for multiple characters, so it's not too big a chunk of your team. I mean, it's more than half of a 300-point team, but there's room to work with that. So they seem very, very insistent on making these bigger figures work in the game again, which was a thing they tried to do back in the past, but didn't make them very strong. Now they're able to be strong numbers-wise, but and fit on a team. But then we have to falter on where location-wise a lot of our move and attack powers seem to be. That's what I'm seeing.
I mean, but would it not just seem point effective and to the same cost if they chopped off the hypersonic speed? Because Superman, in my opinion, never really seemed like a hypersonic speed dude, which is why Trinity War Superman's outrageous. He's more of a full movement charge kind of dude.
Yeah.
Could they not just have given him back dial sidestep, front dial charge? Hypersonic speed has to outcost charge.
We're waxing intellectual about the character's design itself, and Superman when he's about to get knocked the F out, he's probably going to go to the best possible situation and just hit and run, get the heck out of here because this guy's beating the crap out of me, right? So if we want to talk about how the character would function, then yeah, on the last 3 clicks having the hypersonic there is great, and then having the flurry in the middle of the dial because he's trying to hit you as much as he possibly can, and he's kind of tentatively coming at you, not aggressively at first. That's Superman.
He's still got his shirt on and stuff. It takes him a while to get fully disrobed, according to the sculpt.
Yeah, exactly.
When he's Clark Kent, he has a 12 attack, and when he's Superman, he's got a 9/10.
That is consistent with the dial design we've seen with Superman over the years. Low attack values and high damage values are a cornerstone of Superman dial design. One of the first things I was going to comment on is look at this Superman's attack values. They're crazy. I know that
he's better as Clark.
We have had Supermans with high attack values, but there was that time when it seemed like what they were trying to do was have, Batman have all the high attacks and Superman have all the high damage, and that's how you got jokes like that White Lantern Superman, and suddenly it was so many points for lousy attack. So this guy's attack value is crazy. 175 points, and it's all double digits with 2 consecutive 12s. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I think it was the intention of what the stat values were supposed to mean. Defense was rather how dodgy you were. Attack was how good you were at making people actually get hit by things. Mm-hmm. And damage was how hard do you hit people when you actually force yourself to hit someone.
Yep.
I kind of like his attack power personally, but I must say I'm on the fence about any power that is dependent upon the actual result of the die roll. Simply because prob is about the only thing you can do to affect the outcome of that. It gets very close to being a pure luck mechanic, and I like Heroclix best when there's a luck with modification considered type mechanic. I think it's at its best when things are based on outcomes where other stat mods can be taken into account. If it's basically purely the dice come down and what they show type effects, it sways the game a little bit too much in the luck wins it or prob plus luck wins it direction. But all the same, it's neat. It's a lot of words for something that's only going to come up about 1/6 of the time, but all the same.
Ask the 4 out of 5 guys I played using a disintegration beam about that number, and then we'll talk.
Probability is a thing.
I know. I'm just saying. It happens. Sometimes it'll happen for the best.
No, but I hear what Tom's saying. It's like powers that you can plan are better.
Yeah, and that's the thing. This is super strength with a cherry on top. That's what you guys are looking past. Is Superman can do super strength and do all this extra stuff, and then but that's really all it is juicy super strength, right?
Yeah.
And that's what the power initially adds. So I mean, that's why he's only 175 points, and it's 5 clicks of super strength that might do something amazing, but the rest of it is more super strength.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if this was a power you're supposed to be able to plan on, this would be a 250 point figure.
I'm not so much complaining about it as I just I don't know exactly how to feel about it as far as trying to build to optimize it, because it's very hard to optimize that. It is just that. It's a cherry on top that sometimes happens. You might as well just look at this dial and see super strength for all intents and purposes as far as, planning on your build is concerned.
The way I see it, it's to look at your opponent and go, did you see what that roll was?
There's nothing I would rather do than land on a 19. I love landing on a 19 defense. Mid-dial 19 defenses are my favorite ever. It's just so cool to have somebody hit you and then see the look on their face when they discover that they've actually made you harder to hit. It's a wonderful thing.
Did anybody notice the impervious flavor text? Didn't even muss my hair. Southern boy.
Perfectly coiffed. I was gonna say things now.
What do you got, Jay? What do you got?
Pure numbers wise, he's phenomenal for his points. And then on top of that, he's a brawler, but then he still has the solid offensive stats and then Superman ally and range. So even if your opponent is trying to play keep away with him and shoot him, he still has swing of 8 with his sidestep 6 range stealth busting.
Mm-hmm.
With 12 and 4, which is perfectly awesome for 175 points. Defensive numbers are great, like 18, 4, 18, 5. Look at all those 18s. That is
19s with a 19.
There's
With
6
the
in the
19.
That Jay, everyone has a 12 range.
Otherwise, the Empower is nice as a surprise because your friends are gonna probably want to be helping out as well because he's not supposed to be a one-man army, which is an interesting change in design.
Mm-hmm.
I really like him. I think he's just phenomenal numbers for the points, and then he could definitely a good thing to play in sealed meta-wise. We can see because there's obviously ways to give him move and attack that are awesome.
No.
I really like it.
So that said, we move on to one of the other figures on Scott Porter's team, Miss Wonder Woman. Now this comes in at a common level, and before we get too much into this, he did mention as well that there is a Superman and a Wonder Woman at every rarity level. So there is a common Superman, uncommon, rare, super rare, chase, and the same with Wonder Woman. So we're looking at 5 of each figure. What's that?
Last one was the super rare?
Yeah, the last Superman we just saw was a super rare, and we're going to see 2 more before we're done with all these previews. So we have the common Wonder Woman here. Lacks flight, just a very basic brawler with the JSA team ability, so it's kind of got defend, and then late dial it has defend, which doesn't require the JSA team ability in that case. Just generally decent stats at 100 points, but nothing to really scream about as far as my description of it. So I'll let Tom take the floor first on this one.
She feels the lack of willpower. The fact that she loses charge and impervious and her 4 damage and her 11 attack as soon as she pushes is a bit of a shame. Not that sidestep is useless or her defense does go up and she gets perplexed. So there's some consolation there, but I still favor the top dial quite a bit as compared to the second dial. And so for me, I kind of missed the willpower. That being said, if you push yourself to go in and attack, there's something to be said for the fact that you've tied your opponent down, you bang them in the face. Now you can either try to sidestep away, try to get into a better position, use perplex strategically to try to shut them down. So there are things. All in all, she's okay. She looks like a good figure to teach somebody how to play Heroclix. And I think that she's got good. She's not way below Power Girl in terms of powers or numbers, at least as far as 40 points worth is considered. I would say, argue if you will, but I think that she's decent. She kind of goes through a long stretch at the back of her dial where she's not doing a lot unless she's up close, but when she is, she's hitting pretty hard. And late dial defend can be a cool surprise. So decent.
And sidestep close combat expert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, lots of sidestep periods.
Yeah. All right, Jay, what do you think?
I'm questioning how much the JSE team ability is going to come into effect in this set or in Modern at all, because all the characters that would be Earth 2 JSA are in the new 52 at least, the Wonders of the World without that team ability, so like questioning how much that's going to happen.
Right.
But overall, pretty solid. I mean, she does bruiser things and then pushes to the 18 perplex, so, you know, good effective 19 there. She's just kind of simple, and she does what she does, and she does it pretty decently. She's good.
All right. Jordan.
I don't know who's more disappointing, her or Power Girl.
Aw.
Like, I was like, oh, I'll take this one easily. She's 40 points less than Power Girl. Her stats are good. She's basically the same powers in all the right places in comparison to Power Girl. But then I was like, wait, no willpower. Oh, and, you know, Power Girl's got Indom and Flight and the Superman team ability. Oh, she's so much better. But wait, 40 points more? I don't know. I'm you know, for 100 points, that's what Wonder Woman, I guess, is. So for 100 points, I'm going to be satisfied with it. I just kind of really disappointed with the way they've been handling some of these brawler-esque type characters recently, and they've just not been doing them justice, in my opinion.
So basically, for Christmas, I'm giving Jordan a full collection of commons. That's my troll gift to Jordan.
Accept them and mod them.
Yeah.
She's
All right.
cool, but she's not that bad.
So next up,
She's good. I just don't see Wonder Woman being 100 points.
all right. So next up, we have the Batman Superman robot, playable at all sorts of values, from 700 to 450 to 300 to 150, right down to 25 points for a single-click figure, which is wow, very awesome. Now, I want to point out something about this, the 25-point version that is just spectacular. Oh, of course, the PC version is just terrible, isn't it? All right, so we're going to do our best here, but basically, it's got a movement and attack special power on the 25.1. It's exclusive to that dial. The movement power is it's a colossal retaliation. The attack power is called colossal indifference. If it began on the 25-point value, it cannot attack characters except by the retaliation power, which is the movement power.
It couldn't attack smaller.
Yeah.
Right? So anything that's a giant or below, it will not be allowed to be straight up attacked by the 25-point version. But if it's another colossal, he'll go to town for 25 points with 11 attack, 3 damage. I want to point out. But the colossal retaliation, it's hard to make out here, but all right. Give Superman Batman Robot a free action if no other colossal retaliation power has been activated this turn, thus kind of implying that there will be other colossal retaliations, or that the fact that this isn't unique is going to come into play at some point. Choose an opposing character that attacked the Batman Superman Robot or damaged a friendly character since your last turn. Place the Batman Superman Robot such that it can make a close combat attack targeting the chosen character. Then with an area of effect that includes all other characters within 2 squares of the target. Hit characters are each dealt 2 penetrating damage instead of normal damage. After actions resolve, destroy all blocking terrain within the area of effect and place debris markers in all clear terrain with the area of effect of the attack. So basically, it comes in and it drops a whole bunch of debris. It does 2 damage to everything within, I think it's 2 squares of it. That it hits with its 11 attack, and it leaves a big old mark on the board. You're gonna need a ton of hindering terrain to make this work, and that's what you get at the 25-point value. It's also the last click on the dial. I believe the retaliation will occur outside of the 25-point version. It'll just be the attack that if you get to that click on this character, that will happen. Also, it's got another trait. If you play it at 700 points, which will be more for your fun games, it has multi-attack. Tom, what do you think of Big Nasty here?
Boy, where do you start? Well, at his higher point values, he's a colossal, and he's got insane numbers and powers. And when you're up against somebody with that many points, you're playing against somebody with that many points, it's kind of a rolling contest. I don't know exactly how you use him strategically off the top. You just use him as a killing machine, and either they die or you die. The 25-point one is intriguing. He's not unique at 25, is he, or is he? I can't tell.
This dial is not unique, period.
Okay. So that means that this does support the Heroclix syndrome. That if you can collect a whole bunch of them, then it will be kind of fun to play together. That Colossal Retaliation power is good enough that I don't think you really miss not being able to attack normally. It's a really good power. I'm happy to use it all the time.
Especially for 25 points.
Exactly.
Especially as a free action if they have a Colossal.
And for what it's worth, it would be fun to pay 25 points and then spend 5 points to bring along an Ant-Man ID card and turn him into a tiny for the purposes of attacking people normally for one turn. But seems like a bit of... Honestly, that's a lot of points for not that much additional opportunity.
Wait, so... Sorry for interrupting you, Tom. If there was a Superman and Batman robot on either team,
yeah,
whoever got first turn that could attack, just fly across the map as the free action and attack the other Colossal?
Well, that pretty much applies whether there's a guy on the other team or not, right?
No, I was just saying if they were both playing one.
Well, if they're both playing one, you expect it, if it's at 25 points, expect it to sit there in the back of the map until somebody is stupid enough to hit somebody. And then when you attack mine, or attack one of my characters, he comes in, boom, blows up in front of everybody's face. Then that triggered an attack, which now triggers yours, so that your next turn, you're going to come and boom, blow up in my robot's face.
And kill the robot, possibly.
Basically, yeah.
Other than that, I just think he's really good, as always, with super, super high point Colossals. And even at his more manageable point levels, he's still a giant fighting brick of amazingness. It's too bad he doesn't get the multi-attack except at 700, but whatever. Perfectly good piece.
You want 25-point multi-attack, huh?
Yep, that's what I want.
I want 25-point multi-attack, please.
Well, you can only do... It's very situational unless you bring an Ant-Man ID card.
One of my favorite things in the world is Colossals under 100. I played the death out of the Watcher, which is why he couldn't stay on his pillar.
I gotta be honest, he looks stupid. He does. Look at him.
Do I have to get the screenshots of what it actually looked like? Because it looked pretty.
It was a gorgeous piece.
Jordan, your thoughts, your takeaways on this one.
Who conceptualizes these things? In both comic books and in Heroclix. Like, that retaliation power is shenanigans. And who put that in a comic book? Let's be real. Who drew that?
It was the good guy Toyman. I remember, like, I had the issue back in the day when I had individual comic books before I had children, and it was one of the Batman Superman comics. I remember that, and I remember there was a monster, either Parasite or just another maybe Chemo or Plasmus, destroying Japan, and it was the new young Toyman who was a good guy built this, and even Superman and Batman are like, really, this?
And then we're getting him in the world's finest fast force, well, and the main set, but also for sure the fast forces. So yeah.
Jay,
as the resident Toyman expert, I'm a bit upset that it has the toy keyword, but doesn't have the toy trait of getting Toyman's keywords, because if it did, I would need to have like 10 of them. So I'm not sure whether or not I should be happy or sad that it doesn't have that, so I don't want to have to collect all of them.
Sounds like that's a reason to be happy.
I forgot I was screen sharing.
But as is, pretty awesome, and then I'm also anticipating that it works with the Toy Master to do awesome things, but like, yeah, for 25 points, it sits there, waits for an attack to happen, pops in, does stuff, activates the opposing one. They punch each other, and you can pretend that it's the Iron Giant because it has a Superman ally team ability, and it's pretty cool.
It's also got the Batman team ability. So if you can find a way to give this thing sidestep and then move into the hindering terrain that you just left all over the place.
Yeah. It reminded me of like the one Pacific. There was like one Pacific Rim character who had stealth. I was like, what? That thing is like the size of Japan.
It like hides under the water.
Not being seen.
I'm just gonna hide in this bush.
Nothing to see here. And then we move on to the sideboard. So first figure on the sideboard we have is Ulysses, not necessarily a Superman, but he's got the trait, which a lot of Supermen in this set have. Wait, that's not Superman. If Ulysses is on your sideline when your opponent's force is revealed, and your force includes a character named Superman or Superboy of an equal or higher point value, you may replace that character with Ulysses. If you do, Ulysses begins the game with an action token. He's also got another trait. Ulysses ignores damage dealt by Pulse Wave and can't be targeted by Psychic Blast. This ability can't be ignored. Woo-wee! And this is an uncommon.
Yeah, ignore that
Right.
Pulse Wave. We need more of these.
You sound excited.
I am excited.
Please.
Oh, me? Okay.
Sure.
I'm excited for characters that can ignore Pulse Wave. Pulse Wave, I was raving about it last week because of the fact that it ignores everything, but it's really quite frustrating knowing that no matter what you have, then Pulse Wave is going to be able to get around it. So I will always love, that's why Silver Centurion sees way too much play. He's a good beast and all, but ignoring Pulse Wave is a really, really tempting thing, and with something that's that effective, I'm glad that they're giving it to more people. Other than that, Ulysses for 150 points is pretty good. He's even, again, a 7-click dial for 150 points is okay. Starting hypersonic super strength, but also with range if he needs it, is pretty good. No willpower is kind of a shame, again, but he doesn't lose a lot off of his first push, really, and so I can deal with that. And as you drop him down further in his dial, he does switch gears a little bit to being more range-oriented as he goes down, but then again, he's starting with hypersonic, so you're probably not going to stay near your opponents unless there's a reason to do so from anyway. And then towards the end of his dial, he definitely becomes a bit more range-oriented. I like the fact that he ends with Pulse Wave while ignoring it himself. I just think that, that's cool. I like him a lot. I really love ignores Pulse Wave and can't be targeted by Psyblast. You've got to deal with that 7 straight clicks of heavy reducers. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
At least you mostly do, with a few exceptions. I think it's neat.
I also find it ironic that he has those 2 powers in the late dial, but...
Yes.
Jay, go ahead.
I like that this trait is seeming to be put on all the more funky, crazy versions of Superman. So, like, you start the match, you think you're going to be facing against normal, Kal-El, Earth, whatever normal Superman. Then he's like, oh, there's my fat Superman. You're going to have to fight him now. He's just really good. Like,
yeah.
these dials are all just very straightforward, no special funkiness, really. I mean, he just does awesomeness and is a one-man army tentpole kind of character that ignores the big threats to him. He's just awesome, solid stats and whatnot.
Yeah.
All right, Jordan.
I like that he's very pushable for his first 4 pushes. Because by the time you get to that second push, he's probably within 7 range of someone. So a range combat expert is probably a nice plan there. Movement power is not so much necessary on your 3rd and 4th click as a character who's going to be pushing and doing stuff, because by the time he's pushed a second time, as I said before, he should be within 7 range of another character his next turn. I like that he's got P protection, as I call it, penetrating and pulse wave protection.
Can't be on me.
Yeah, but yeah, it's actually funny. Silver Centurion has full P protection because he also gets protection from poison.
That's true. He's got the extra P.
Yeah, the extra P in there.
I see.
Ignore plasticity.
That ran.
Yeah, but as Jay said, it's a very straightforward figure. Pretty solid. I feel like he's overcosted because of his trait. but maybe Silver Centurion's just way more undercosted than I think.
Well, Silver Centurion has the bonus of being a prime, which will undercost him immediately.
Well, that's what popped into my mind. Maybe he's just way more undercosted than I think.
Yeah.
I suspect that hypersonic is an expensive power at any time, and hypersonic super strength with high numbers is a pretty big punch in your face. So I can kind of see where they're coming from.
All right. I'm liking this Superman trait because every so often I'm going to go to a tournament with a Superman and I'm going to see some jerk who brought Psychic Blast or Pulse Wave to the table. I'm going to be like, all right, fine. You're that guy. Now I'm this guy.
It's very much
the
like
guy who brings
I'm better suited.
anti-10 pull power. He's so mean.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Superman 2. He's also got the Wait That's Not Superman trait. He's got a cool attack power. I would say cool before even reading it. Superman 2 can use Incapacitate. When he uses it as a close combat action and hits, after action resolve, he can use it again as a free action targeting the same character. Characters hit by this Incapacitate can't ignore pushing damage this turn. He's got the Wonders of the World ATA attached to his. Comes in at a cool 150. Kryptonian Wonders of the World keyword, and otherwise colorful dial with late dial Battle Fury.
Well, the reason for that is because this Superman's a pacifist, and late on something happens in the storyline, and he literally enrages, and that's why his damage also goes up to represent like him not being a pacifist and actually fighting like a Superman.
It sure needs to.
I also want to point out that if you watched last week's episode, unfortunately, Jordan, I mentioned that Battle Fury is one of my top 5.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Top 5 dead or alive.
Because it went from a very bad power to holy crap is this amazing power. Because it kept all the downsides but gained a bunch of bonuses, like being, immune to incapacitate, mind control, and it, what was the other part of it? Ignores shape change, which, Amber uses a lot. So, those stats are just so sexy on the back end with that last click with 5 damage. Like, yeah, it's kind of okay, he's got 5 damage, let's do 1 click to the toughness with 16 defense. It shouldn't be too hard. But hopefully they've spent a lot of work getting there. Jay, your thoughts?
I like what he's supposed to do with the top dial, outwit, Superman ally, whatnot. Although it seems that they're cutting down range a bit, because there's that second Superman with a 6 range now. Like you'd think he'd justify more than that, but it is what it is. I don't like that he only has the 1-clicker running shot with the incapacity and then goes to charge. But I can kind of see why they did that, because then he turns into close combat. So it's more like this is a very finesse piece, and that you have to be very good at planning ahead. This is like thinking 10 moves ahead kind of piece, which I like.
Made for the Switch. It's like, as Jason said, oh, you're bringing penetrating. This guy's more so. Oh, you're playing another tent pole, and my tent pole's worse than yours. This guy will beat you though.
Yeah. Stop, he keeps saying, with the incapacitate. Because the charge combined with the incapacitate actually allows you to proc the ability where you charge, incapacitate, okay, I incapacitated, I'm going to incapacitate again, take a push. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And
then he can't do anything.
This looks like it was made for things like when it was designed, we hadn't quite come up with the trick to get rid of gluttony. And this was probably that idea that they came up with around the time. It's like, hey, just make them really, really tired.
But yeah, outwit on a character like this is cool because he does things other than just attack, which he has to.
Yeah.
I like that he has the good stats at the end, but then again, that's after he's taken a lot of damage. You may or may not have done damage with him to make the investment worth it, and then once he's got those good numbers, he's kind of a bit tuckered out and is about to fall asleep. His sweet spot, I think, is like click 4, because you got the good stuff there, and you've already hopefully done some damage, or at least he's been doing the incapping and the what your team needs to start damaging your opponent, and then he is more cleanup, which is cool and interesting and different, cool design. And he can even be a healer if you want, if you're playing Wonders of the World, and then just get him to take damage that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. He definitely requires a lot more thought to play and get your investment out of. I like him.
And Tom.
I don't like him.
Oh,
I agree with everything Jay. I agree with everything Jay said. I think he is very much a finesse piece, and I think he'll probably be fun to play. He's a fun piece, sort of, but there's a lot I don't like about him from just a design perspective. I don't like the fact that they've got this incapacitate, which is especially good for close combat. But they start him off with running shot, which is okay. So you get the running shot in cap. I kind of wish that if you're paying this many points and all you're doing is in cap, you would at least get longer range or a second target, but you don't. So you sort of and no willpower, so you sort of need to push onto that charge to try to take full advantage of the super in capping. In the meantime, you're kind of a sitting duck, and while you're a sitting duck, you could say, well, that just allows them to activate him on a better clicks. True, but if you're not knocking him right to the end, then he's moderate. Like, he's decent, but again, for 150 points, he's half your team. He starts out doing not enough for me to want to play him, and I can't rely on where he's going to land. Like, he might very well land on his last click with one token on him, and then force you to decide whether you can really want to push yourself to death just to try to get that one hit off, because you know that one hit's going to miss. If you know it's going to be a push to the death to do one lot of damage that you're going to miss, if you had a 27 attack, you'd miss that attack. So yeah. I don't know. Just
yes, I would.
I know I would. Again, I agree it's a finesse piece, but finesse, there's a very fine line between finesse piece and frustration piece, and that line can be the difference between any little roll or any little thing that comes up. I like the idea of playing him. I think it'd be fun, but I don't think I like the design of the character.
I think we're also setting ourselves up for disappointment because this is listed as 19A. And B might be a little better. B may be prime. Who knows?
Maybe B will be the same dial in reverse for 150 points. I'd take that.
Ooh, Bizarro Superman 2.
Why is there no other version?
Well, it's probably not another version. Sorry, is Jay cutting off for anybody else, or is it just
character to be made? This is basically. Uh-oh.
Well, he's got this. I'm wondering if the super strength is a kind of a spoiler where it says he's fighting the android Superman. Maybe he's going to be fighting the android Superman in the version of the Prime. Anyway, that's speculation at best.
Waiting for that slot.
Yeah. Hey. Superman Blue's back, guys.
Let's talk about the best dial I've ever seen in my life.
All right. So, wait, that's not Superman trait. Red, energy absorption and release. Superman Blue can use Force Blast. Superman Blue and adjacent characters ignore damage dealt by Pulse Wave. This ability can't be ignored. I believe we've just lost Jay. He's got Justice League, Kryptonian, Metropolis, and Reporter. Oddly enough, Jay is back in. All right. Colorful Dial, Superman team ability, playable at 125 or 50 points. Woo! He is an A dial, and Scott Porter did confirm there is a blue, or there is a red in this set. Superman Red is in the set. Not sure if he mentioned if it was a prime, but it's going to be the B of this, obviously. So 125 or 50 points playable. The 50 point comes with 18 defense with energy shield with Empower. Weird combination, but it's 50 points that you can use to stop taking damage from Pulse Wave. But I've spoken at length. Jordan, you wanna take the lead on this one?
You mentioned 125 points twice. I don't see it. I only see 50. I only see this 3-click character, 11 movement, running shot, 10 attack, energy explosion, 18 energy shield, 2 in power, 50 points. I really like the character. I think he's quite good. I just don't think his weight, that's not Superman trait, will ever happen.
Yeah, I don't be playing him on their field.
Yeah, he's already on the field.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Jay.
I think it could happen. I mean, because, like, look at the common Wonder Woman. She was 100 points. We'll probably get a similarly low-cost Superman, so who knows? It might happen.
Yep.
We ain't
Or
getting no
maybe you
50
want
point
to have...
Superman.
Maybe you're already playing one of this guy. Maybe you want a second, just in case. Because that is a really, really awesome dial for 50 points.
You bet.
Yeah, I could.
Less an energy shield are kind of my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Just because you're getting an effective 20 from what.
Yeah, okay. Cutting out for everybody else, too. All right. Jay, you've been cutting in and out a little bit here.
Getting hit.
Mm.
Is so.
Canadian internet.
I love the Canadian internet. It's the best.
It's actually getting worse.
Oh boy. So yeah, I'm gonna echo I think what everybody says is this 50-point dial is going to see play, and if it's not in the mainstay full tactics format, no tactics, it's going to be there. That third or fourth level attacker, like he makes so much extra there. The second, like pushing him to the second click, is not too big a worry if you're in the right place, or just dealing the damage with the blind owl if that's what you need at the time. I mean, I'm just speculating all the possibilities of this little 3-click dial that you can get out of this figure, and I'm very excited to get some use out of the blue, if you will.
Can I just say that I absolutely love it? Like, I started out by saying that it was my favorite dial ever, and it might be. It's definitely my favorite dial of the ones they previewed. I like both 50 and 125, honestly. I think they're both really quite playable. Partly because of the fact that the easiest thing there is to do in the game at this point, the easiest thing to give in this game, it seems like, is damage reduction. There are so many entities that give damage reduction. You can play a Phoenix Force and give damage reduction on several of the different starting points, or just throw in the Colossus Shard to give him invulnerability. There's a lot, and the fact that he has no damage reduction means it's never going to be redundant. You're always going to have a defense power that you can use with something else if you throw it his way, and he's low enough points for that to be feasible. So ignoring Pulse Wave, and now looking at that with a full dial of invulnerability on a Phoenix Force, or any number of different ways you can give him reduction, that's all he needs to really go over the top. I think he's super great, and I love the fact that he pushes onto a complete change of strategy if you need it. Like if your opponent is dogpiling you and you can't really get the use out of the ESD, then go ahead and push onto super senses and push onto sidestep rather than running shot. So if you need to stay at range, try to stay on your first click. If they're getting in close or you want to get in close, go to the second click. You get a lot of good things for it. And that's true of both starting lines. With the second starting line, you go get hypersonic if you push. So, I mean, what more do you want? I love this piece.
Yeah.
Adding on to what Tom said, actually, Parallax would be perfect for that because you can choose Quintessence to not push. You can choose Penetrating Psychic Blast to get the splash damage penetrating, or you can choose the Stealth, which he would like, or the Reducer. You can literally get pure enjoyment out of a Parallax piece, and plus one attack is always nice.
No redundancy and maximum options. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Maxing.
I'm super looking forward to having this set and me and Amber fighting over using him. I really want to see what Red does as well.
Yeah, me too. And how much Red costs I'm interested in as well.
Yeah. One of the things I do notice is they often mirror each other in dials. Like, they're very similar in the way they function, usually when they make the red and blue. I believe, actually, when they first made red and blue, they were rookies, experienced, and veterans of each other. So that's when I think they came out in collateral damage, if I remember correctly.
Wasn't it like it was like Superman, Superman Blue, and Superman Red, or were they actually like the same thing?
I remember they were REVs, and like the experienced one was red, or the rookie, one of them was red, and one of them was blue, and then the other one with the veteran was blue. And it was like supposed to be the two of them combined. All right, so since I'm still screen sharing, a regional happened this weekend. Now regionals are, those of you unfamiliar, are sealed. So when you see all the Nick Fury in this, no, Nick Fury isn't that broken that he just comes in and plays with no resources. So y'all got to chuckle at Jordan's expense on that.
I got scared. I was like, this is stupid. Why do people think this is like the be-all, end-all? They're like, I don't even have good shield pieces, but I'm going to play them.
Yeah, everybody came and trolled with just generics. The top 8 consist of Everett de Guzman. His team had an Agent Ward. Don't have to go into great detail about this. We could probably talk more about the top 4 with regards to things, but so Everett de Guzman had used Agent Ward, Hydra Infiltrator, Dr. Locke, a Hydra Field Agent, Hydra Section Chief, and an Imperial Hydra. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 characters in sealed, as Nick Fury does to you. Then we have Tim Friedlib using Baron Strucker, Hive, a Shield Paranormal Investigator, a Shield Field Agent, and a Shield Recruit. Rolando Vera using Madam Hydra, Agent Ward, Alexander Pierce, and Radiance. Dr. Derek Iden using Dr. Demonicus. Oh, you're my hero, buddy. Kraken, who's a really good figure in Sealed, as I've discovered several times. Actually, just a really good character in general. Clay Quartermain, a Shield Paranormal Investigator, and the Hulkbuster's left leg to round out his points. And he still couldn't get up to the 300. Wow.
Shall we now talk about the luckiest pulls of the day?
Yeah, right here in the top 4, Clint Demerit, my God, how did you sit? Shield Infiltrator, Baron Blood, just the uncommon one, just a regular one, the Peggy Carter, the Prime figure, and the Nick Fury Super Rare.
Yeah, an SR, a common Prime. That's some good sealed pulls.
Yeah, you can walk away happy that you at least can buy those packs back.
Not to mention, that's amazing for turning off all the powers in the world. That's a great little team.
Yeah, you just can't use things. Anyway, Julian Rhodes also taking up in the top 4. Used the Falcon Cap, Man Killer, Jimmy Woo, Bucky Barnes, and the Bucky Barnes ID card, and he had the 45-point Bucky to call in with that, which anybody on his 3-figure team, which is small for this sealed environment, could use.
It's actually 7.
Oh yeah, that's right. Just 7. 7 characters on this team because that Captain America does bring out 4. Thank you for catching me on that.
That's true.
That. In second place,
it's super hard to fight that Captain Falcon if he just rushes you down.
Yeah. Dustin Hall in second place with Nick Fury Jr., Agent May, Fitz, a Shield Paranormal Investigator, and the Winter Soldier.
And then very MCU team.
What's that?
It's a very MCU team.
Yes, definitely.
Seeing a lot of the Paranormal Investigator for good reason.
Well, yeah.
Why?
With Outwit, the ability to take a free action to cancel stealth and shape change on the same character, which is very, very prominent in this set.
Yeah, it pushes to prob too.
Yeah, pushes to prob.
And he's got the shield team ability like everybody else in the set. So
he's on a shield team anyway, so they've got their theme probs, and if they run out of those, you just push your Paranormal Investigator.
Yep, and then he's got regular prob at at your regular cost, which is nothing. And then in first place, Alex Rosado playing a Union Jack. Looks like this is the Prime, Jet Black, Hydra Recruit, which that's a good choice. A Shield Elite Agent and a Shield Infiltrator. So let's talk top 4. I want to know what happened in his game versus whatever these 2 guys he had to fight against, because this is like, if you could just see this. This is the team, the Nick Fury Peggy Carter team. This is the team to beat, right? Because you basically have no powers.
I think I can see what happened there. I think it was probably Paranormal Investigator runs into Nick Fury, shuts off his shape change and stealth.
Yep.
And then Winter Soldier blasts him with superior range.
That's the way I see it going down, because Winter Soldier does have the extra range on him, plus a full team of shield to make it a 13 range if necessary. And then the map probably played a big part in that, because Nick Fury can ignore most maps, but if it was played on the Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. maps themselves,
not much elevated, no.
He doesn't get a huge amount of advantage in that situation. So the blast coming from Bucky Bucky does have the potential to one-shot him.
There's also theme probs there. I mean, your Nick Fury is still being relied on to do a lot of the heavy hitting. Thankfully, Peggy is a functional tertiary attacker, and Baron Blood starts a bit slow, but he can be a good secondary attacker. But I think that there's more of an attack balance on Dustin's team, so that even if Nick Fury does zero in on somebody and take them out in the second turn or whatever, the rest of his team can rally.
Yep.
Once Nick Fury goes down, unless Baron Blood's getting some good steel energies in, then that team's going to be fighting uphill. So.
Yeah, a lot of the defense on that team seems to be shape change, which can be shut off. So
with which one shield paranormal investigator in the right place says, nah.
Yeah, and then Peggy looks like a good tertiary attacker, but she's a 6 range compared to just there seems to be a lot of 7s and more in this set.
Yeah. And Baron Blood kind of doesn't add to the range, whereas most of this set adds to range with shield characters.
Mm-hmm.
So again, this guy made the top 4, so I can't really say a lot about his team composition. He obviously did very well and knew how to play what he was playing.
He could have rolled 3 crit misses in a row as well, right?
That looks like that kind of build looks like the best possible thing of what he would pull.
Yeah,
I agree.
And the way I say it is, like I was thinking about it earlier today. I wanted to say crit happens.
That's good. Nice.
Yeah.
That's like Domino's expression. Crits happen.
Oh my god, don't remind me about our game the other day.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but congrats to everybody who went. Made the top 8 especially. You guys played some awesome Shield. It's one of my favorite sets, and I do have to say this is a set, I've said it before, is a player set for Sealed. The better player is usually going to come out on top in the Sealed environment in this, or the more careful, more tactical player, or the guy who pulls a Sealed Steve Rogers, before anybody takes a dig at me on that one. All right, so now that I can...
Or pulls a Taskmaster.
Hey, my camera does still work. All right, cool. I can stop screen sharing for a little bit.
Wow, it's Jason's face.
Hey, how about that?
Go back!
Here, put it on Tom's. He's prettier than me. Speaking of which, Tom.
Yes.
How would you like to start Arrowette Day?
Sure. Let me just get the old screen share going here.
Do you have the Phoenix Force again?
No, I decided not to, but I must admit, I seriously considered it. I didn't want to typecast myself as Phoenix Force Man.
Why not?
I've already accepted typecasting myself as Parallax Man.
To be fair, I think Phoenix Force would have worked better. But I've put Arrowhead onto a team which I've devoted to somebody's going to hit with a ranged attack. Damn it! We start with Arrowhead. We know. Okay, I guess we don't know what she does because we haven't talked about her yet. 6-click dial starts out with nice and sharpshooter, 7 range, 2 targets. She's running shooting for 9 movement, 10 attack, with an attack power that says that she can take a free action and choose one of the following: barrier, energy explosion, incapacitate, leap climb, or smoke cloud. She can use that power until your next turn, so it's kind of a limited free attack pick a power. And of course, with 17 defense energy shield, she's hard to hit from afar. And let's not forget that awesome trait. When Arrowette makes a ranged combat attack, mind you, it's not just an action. Whenever she makes an attack, after action's resolved, she may make a second additional ranged combat attack as a free action. For the additional attack, she can't target any character that was targeted with the first attack. That's awesome because it doesn't depend on it being a ranged combat action. It doesn't require the first attack to have hit anything. It doesn't even require the first attack to have hit a character. If you really wanted to, you could blow up an object with your first one, or blow up a barrier and then take a shot, your next shot, through the barrier you just blew out. So there's some good options there. And as she goes down her dial, she's got a spattering of RCE, ends out with Psychic Blast and Sidestep, and she moves from being tough at a distance with ESD to tough up close with Combat Reflexes. And because of that Psychic Blast, she's still making ranged attacks when you are up close. So that's my quick summary of Arrowette, because she's going to be on everybody's team. So there you go. 90 points. I've put Ion on her. We all know that what Ion does, and Ion generally is good for characters that need a defense boost. She's going to be able to get Impervious and +1 defense from the Ion pairing. She'll also be able to get a boost to her range, and she can take another power besides Impervious. I also largely did it to give her the Green Lantern keyword because I wanted to make a Green Lantern theme team around her. So with that in mind, I've put on John Stewart at 95 points. He's the dude with the amazing 10 range, Indomitable, who can running shot with a 10 attack is okay, 3 damage is okay, but he can use RCE as an attack, so he can use it with his running shot, which is super awesome. I gave him the wall as the construct because he can bring a construct in when he plays, and I put a Green Lantern Recruit on there too. Not the best stats in the world. He does get an attack bump when there's a nearby Green Lantern Corps member, which is kind of handy. And he's got willpower, so at least he stays doggedly there. and I can put on with that the power plant. And we don't need to go into what all the things the power plant does. Suffice to say, it's pretty much a pure offense. A pure offense resource that is very well suited for range. It works really well with Arrowette, I think, because of the fact that those rings are really pumping up. Certainly, if you choose right, you can really get a lot of use out of pumping up your range combat attacks. It doesn't need to be actions, just your own attacks with a force blast ring, whether it's impact beam, obviously disintegration beams. We don't need to go into it. There's a lot of things you can do. And all three members of this team are ranged attackers. Admittedly, the Green Lantern recruit is mostly there for the theme prob, but he's basically there as the last man standing if the other two go down. But because Arrowette can take TK, then off the top she can grab TK on the very first turn, or I guess the second turn after immunity's done. So on your first turn, drop a ring on John Stewart. Second turn, drop another ring on John Stewart. TK John Stewart up 8. And then he can running shot. He's got 10 range, and he can use RCE with it, along with the effects of whatever rings you gave him. So at that point, he's coming out strong with an amazing Alpha Strike that can go end to end. And once he's done that end to end Alpha Strike, try to get it through whatever damage he does. He will likely get dogpiled and killed. At which point, Arrowette becomes your primary. You start dropping rings on her. The idea is just to keep on attacking and hope that you deal enough damage to make up for the fact that the team is defensively not the best. Admittedly, there are problems. It's not going to deal with absolutely everything out there, but the hope is that by pure offense combined with a bit of control over choosing the map, thanks to theme, and a little bit of prob control, also thanks to theme, you'll be able to make sure that those hits stick. So that's what I have to say.
There's so much.
Sorry?
Why do you despise Abin?
I don't despise Abin, sir. I just never find I have enough points to buy him in.
He's exactly the same number of points as your recruit.
He is?
Yeah, he's also 50.
Okay, so the team now has Abin Sur on it instead.
Thank you, Jay.
Much better. Thank you. Okay. You know what it is, Jay? And do you really? In fact, I think Jason probably knows why I forgot Abin Sur. Can you guess, Jason?
You don't have him, and he's not on your radar.
Yeah, perhaps, but we've talked about something else about him too. I only ever, when I build a Green Lantern team, 97% of the time Tomar 2 is on it. So I've forgotten about the fact that Abin Sur is even an option. I
remember killing your Tomar 2, though, so...
I remember winning the game.
Oh, yeah, that's also true.
Anyway, you're right.
It's just like Manny.
Did you guys an aloe for that burn, too?
It's just
right,
like
though.
Manny at provincials.
Abin Sur is definitely a better call. And in
You're
fact,
the reason why I drank.
You could even afford a construct on him by dropping a few rings off your power plant. So yes, good point. I will rebuild this team with Abin Sur and call that what I came up with in the first place. All credit to Jay Sullivan.
All right. Speaking of which, Jay, your turn.
Let me screen share.
Oh, so much.
Oh, screen sharing our faces. There's a screen share within the screen share. So much going.
Can we see?
It's
yeah, we're good.
Yeah, looks good.
So this is I should have used Ronan, but I like Jason, so I played Lei Kung team.
Nice.
So because nobody knows what this guy does, he is the martial artist mentor awesomeness dude. Can up Arrowette's attack. He's an awesome attacker on his own. Charge flurry, plasticity. Can exploit instead, and then quickly gives tokens, which is fun. Obviously Arrowette's here because that martial artist theme. So she's getting +1 attack from Lei Kung most of the time. Prob from Mantis. Usually not getting the crossbow I didn't give her because I'm smart. But Spotlight to bust stealth and whatnot, or the net to tie people down from range, which is fun. Indigo Battery to give some measure of protection. And then, yeah, give Lei Kung an axe because he really, really wants to be Ronin, I guess. And then Mantis is prob, mind control, awesomeness, as well as the Avengers Response Unit ATA, which is like Empower but for attack values, which is all good. It's pretty simple, straightforward. Not much there.
All right. Jordan?
While Tom typically goes for the Green Lantern theme teams, I go for the Sinestro Corps theme teams. And once again, as I said, I don't mind being casted as the Parallax guy, but I put Parallax on Arrowette here.
Hey!
Yeah, big surprise.
Whoa!
Whoa! The main thing actually was I was thinking about a that would increase, not only give her the attack bonus she needs to actually be an attacker, but somehow do something with that quiver full of options. And what I was especially looking at was the fact that she can choose Energy Explosion. So you choose Psychic Blast with Parallax, with the Power Battery, which I'll mention later in the build. She'd actually have a 12 attack, so she's not bad anymore, especially when she can deal out 3 damage penetrating to a target and 2 splash to everyone around, then make that secondary attack again. That's always nice. I paired her up with a 90-point Sinestro and a 50-point Sinestro recruit. He's a tertiary attacker with Pulse Wave, only 9 attack and 5 range, so he's really not that effective. But I mostly put him on my team once again because he's an 8 movement kind of increase to Arrowette's attack by being able to down people's defense. You know, he moves out 8 squares, your defense is lower, you know, allowing Arrowette to actually furthermore make attacks. I then fully loaded up a power battery, Sinestro Corpse, of course, with a wall, a net, a spotlight, and some scissors in case they get close.
Cool.
All right. Awesome. I guess that makes it my turn, eh? So, that said, while Tom was building, the second he said power plant, I looked up and said, "Oh, you jerk, you did it too."
I was going to say, I think that you build with the power plant more than I build with the Phoenix Force as far as trends go.
Because I built a lot with the power plant, but I have used the Phoenix Force in tournaments in the past, so I'm not a stranger to that one. But that said, here we go. All right. So I went and cheated and took Miss Arrowette from last week's.
Nice.
And added her to my team.
Sweet.
And then I realized that, you know, the only keyword that those two share is celebrity. You know, there's a Wasp who's a celebrity that has enhancement on her dial. Also has Empower as a trait that won't work in this team. But, you know who else is a celebrity? The Fiddler. The Fiddler.
That's an inside reference for long-time watchers.
And I decided that I'm gonna do something that breaks one of my many fundamental rules, which is don't rely on the defense. So I decided I'm going to rely on the defense. Of course, the Fiddler has his Defend ability that also adds +1 defense to adjacent friendly characters with lower point values. So of course, Miss Arrowette is bringing Bowstring, which is nice, making, you know, even his defense 19 because he's 0 points and that makes him less points. It doesn't fully help Arrowette, unfortunately, because Arrowette is more points than Fiddler, but the extra 1 defense to 18 added to the energy shield makes her 20 defense, throwing some hindering terrain. There's your rule of 3. Right? Mm-hmm. So, and then the idea was between Arrowette's damage, ability to do damage, Miss Arrowette's ability to do damage, and the ability to bring in Bowstring, and the fact that we have Wasp and a power plant, I'm pretty sure at some point I'm going to be double checking if I have the rule of 3 going on.
That Arrowette dishing out 5 damage, count it 5 damage.
Yeah. Well, and you know, if I put an Electroblast ring, that's 6 damage.
Yeah,
that is true.
And the second attack.
Yep. Which will be a 5 damage. Oh darn! 11 damage from a single character.
That you'll only have an 11 attack for, so you're gonna miss.
Yeah.
Top, though.
Oh well. I have a couple turns, I hope, because I do have reasonable defenses from the Fiddler, and if I keep him in the back, he ignores characters for hindering for line of fire, and his prob may come into effect with his 7 range. All in all, I made a bubble that's gonna get burst by a really high attack energy explosion.
Yep, just one big energy explosion.
Yeah, one big energy explosion is gonna break this team in half.
Until it happens.
I wanted to. It's been a long time since I said Fiddler.
That's true.
So I thought I'd go that far. And then now my face again. All right. I apologize that you've had to see this twice now after quick breaks.
I thought we were done, Jason. I thought we were done.
I thought it was all over.
I thought the healing could begin.
No more torture, Jason.
All right, so we've talked, got all my notes, and we've talked about everything. So unless there's something else we want to add, Tom, before we carry on to user questions or fan questions.
I don't know why I directed it at me. Hopefully it's directed to everybody. Nothing else to add from my perspective. I've missed Heroclix these last couple of weeks of extreme business. I got one more to get through, and then the world opens up to a wonderful land of clicks. And I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with the Rock Nationals. With absolutely, as far as I'm concerned, nothing is trending in a major way in the meta right now. It sounds like I'm talking about Twitter. But there's I don't think that there's anything that you can really point to and say this is what everybody's going to do, because there's been so much variety. So it's going to be crazy to see what comes out of that. I think we're all going to be flabbergasted by the result.
But Gluttony's not in the meta anymore.
What?
He said flabbergasted.
It's a fact joke.
Oh, okay.
Flab on Gluttony.
Mountains of it.
I think I understand.
Yeah.
Stretch, but okay.
Jordan?
I mean, this set, I was really hoping for a Red Lantern Supergirl, but at what we've seen thus far, this is not the set I want to get it in. I will be disappointed. Like, I want Red Lantern Supergirl to be as good in perspective as Black Lantern Zoom. If someone, I'm hoping for a super rare slot, super rare prime slot here. And an actual super rare Supergirl. Give me a good one, please. Please, Whiz Kids. Please.
All right. Jay. Jay is
And Wonder Woman.
Yeah, Jay, I think your internet's chopping out on us again. God.
Jay likes sidestep.
Yeah, Jay wants to say he likes sidestep.
All right. Awesome. Sidestep's good.
Oh.
I like sidestep, he says in the chat off to the side.
Sidestep's so much fun.
I'd like to put it out there into the world to have somebody complete the team that is 200-point Cap Sentinel, 25-point Batman Superman robot. What do you do with the remaining 75 points? That keeps the theme of giant robotic versions of superheroes. It's not easy, is it?
No, because I wanted to put Justin Saferd on the team.
You see? That doesn't keep the theme.
One in each hand?
Giant super robots? Demons? The Ultron 7.
I guess. It's not really a version of a hero, but alright.
Oh, it's got to be hero. Right.
It's hard.
You could always make it ironic, and you could make it your 2 giant robots of heroes and 1 small version of the original Ultron.
True.
And
Or you could do...
one, because he's like a tiny version of a villain.
like some Superman action figures, and you get like tiny versions of heroes along with giant versions. That'd be cool.
Either tiny versions of heroes or tiny version of villains for the full opposite.
We'll put that one out into the world and see what anyone comes up with.
Yep. In the meantime, guys, we're going to be answering your fan questions. We're starting on Facebook, but if you want to get your questions in the comments below, add them in, and we'll see if we can get to them by the end of it all. So get them in now if you want us to answer it. But we're going to start with Facebook first, and we'll go in chronological order today. So Shane Donnie, I'm just going to go by your first and the last name and your 4 names that are there. How do you guys feel about the sneak peeks we're seeing? The Superman Super Rare is a little underwhelming, but there are a lot of other Superman in the set. Also, with his new trait, is he the closest thing to the Hank Pym DC we'll get? Well, it's the start of the Hank Pym thing, we'll see. I think we've got all our opinions across on the show so far. I can't wait to see more.
Yep.
So I think is ultimately we'd like to base our opinion. What we've seen, the comments are very blasé. The Super Rare has some problems. We are all in love with Superman Blue. We all really like Ulysses to a certain degree, wish it costs a little bit less, and we all agree that Earth 2 Superman takes a certain type of player to play. So I think we got all that across. Unless anybody wants to add anything to that? Nope. Jay?
Fat Superman, bring it.
Next up, Rick Sasser asks, How do I approach my local shop in supporting battle royales? I brought this idea up multiple times and have gotten the local group excited about this, but the owner brushes the idea off, rather frustrating. Well, you don't. If you have a space to play, you don't necessarily need his permission for battle royales, because the idea is what a battle royale is each of you grab a pack, pick a figure from it, pass it on, and then your prize is pick order. So first, second, third, fourth, you get the pick in that order.
That's draft, right?
But that's how the battle royales work in general. And then everybody takes all the figures that they end up with and play on the same map and go from there. I mean, it's very unbalanced. But it's incredibly wacky. As far as convincing your store, if you're talking about the battle royale events, good luck, man, because they're very specific. Like this one, it seemed even some of the stores in the States didn't get first dibs on them. We couldn't get them up here in the Great White North of Canada, so if we had the chance, we'd jump all over them. I kind of want to segue before we go in further into questions, because there is something I want to kind of bring up, and it's the Superman Wonder Woman format. Now, the way the format works, as I drop my mic and trash my desk, is the way it works is you draft, which is you open up your pack, you pick one figure, and you pass it on. What you get from those packs is what you keep at the end of the day, and then what you pull from your draft is what you play in Swiss rounds of tournaments. So don't take the pre-release super seriously, because the prize is just a super booster that came out of the bricks. Use it as a chance to get ahead, see some figures ahead of time, play with some of the stuff. If some of the guys are really tryhards, you might get a chance to rare draft the heck out of it. That's on you. But ultimately, this is your chance to. They really set it up to that you're just getting a peek at things. So not something to be going, oh my god, I got to kill a weekend for this. It's just think of it like a new tournament. And if you're running a venue, just run it on your normal days, guys. Don't go too crazy about it. Don't be talking to other venues about setting up weekends or whatever. You're going to get people there. It's going to happen because it's the new set. But it's a one-pack draft. Don't kill yourselves about it.
To be fair, after the weekend, every single figure will be previewed. We will know them all.
Yeah, which means, in 2 weeks it'll be less surprising for what we get. But me and Amber are still going to crack open 2 cases, like we usually do, and we're still going to do our unboxing video and everything like that. And it's just we're going to know going in what some of the figures do and how they play. I think, if anything, it's going to take away some of the excitement from the day one seal. At best. Sorry, that was I've been meaning to discuss this on here briefly, and I keep putting it off. Next up, I just realized I did this in reverse chronological order, so sorry guys who asked first and I asked you last. Chris Stockhouse asked, with the influx of new colossal figures coming, should the ROC keep the nothing bigger than a peanut-based rule for no tactics? Thinking about it now, I don't think I would shed a tear if the ROC board said no peanut bases either for no tactics. Thoughts? My thought on this, I got to preview the questions. Sorry, guys, I went and vetted some of them. As far as this one's concerned, I say if they want to keep the no colossal, it's their tournament to run. But I do understand why they do the nothing bigger than a peanut base thing, because one of the cool tools that we get to deal with colossals is resources or relics or extra tactics. They help us really deal with figures with really thick dials, really high stats that a lot of the colossals bring to the table. Now, they've done a bit of a balancing act since, I believe, Galactic Guardians. There were still some strong colossals there, but they're definitely tapered off from what they used to be in the early days of Heroclix. So if they want to keep their rule, I'm okay with that, because the ROC's no tactics format is really their format, and I do like the format. And I just, we're going to see Superman robot bombs everywhere if it comes into the no tactics format. You just expect that, right? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Tom?
I don't have a strong feeling on it. I agree with you 100% that it's their tournament, and whatever they feel is best is what they should go with. I don't feel strongly that we shouldn't allow colossals. I would say that, in a way, if the idea is that colossals represent something that's unbalanced for the same number of points, that it suggests a greater problem with the game that needs to be addressed by the designers And in some ways, these tournaments are the best ways for those problems to be to come out into the open. So if we really do think that the Colossals are going to be too good for their points, then there's no better way for WizKids to find out about it than to watch the Rock results and find that everybody who's winning is doing so with a Brainiac Skull Ship, for example.
I heard that one's good.
Yeah. But honestly, I guess I don't have a strong opinion on it one way or another. I don't exactly know why they implemented that logic from the get-go, but if they want to stick with it, if they like the idea of just whatever fits in your toolbox or whatever, you can sit down and play with that. There's something kind of I like how simple and cool it is in general. So I guess I wouldn't say change it just because we're getting new Colossals in. We're not getting that many new Colossals, and we'll have tons of opportunities to play with those Colossals outside of just the Rock formatted no tactics events. And so based on that alone, I wouldn't change the way they do it. I would just say whatever logic they are basing their decision on, carry on strong.
Jordan?
They're fully welcome to do whatever they'd like. Again, it's their tournament. I only wanted peanut bases around when there were certain figures like Loki and like vehicles that we could use. Looking at it now, I guess once again we have a few new vehicles, so I'd like to potentially see what they'd bring to the change in the meta, because I feel like no tactics is very stale, and I know Jay has mentioned it before, but if they don't, or if they put ID cards into tactics, I don't think no tactics is really going to have changed at all from last year. It's Zombie, Super Skrull, and Kyle still seem like the two best figures to play in no tactics overall.
All right, Jay?
I mean, I was going to say things, but then he said them, so no, I don't have anything to say. Words.
I'm sorry I have an opinion, and you talk about things, and you have the same one.
In addition to Colossals, I think the other problem is team bases, which kind of mess with everything a little when you have the 300-point zombie team base popping off another 300-point team, which they probably didn't want as well. Yeah. So I can go either way. It's obviously they can do what they want, but I would lean towards keep it as it is, just because there's a lot of crazy out there that doesn't necessarily immediately come to mind, but would totally show up.
Yeah. And one of the things sometimes people miss is when you set up a format in a specific way, what you think is the thing they're targeting, it could also cover something completely separate of that. For instance, I'm working on a all-common tournament format for a super competitive tournament. A lot of people ask, well, what about resources? There's no common resources, so I don't have to mention that. They're all LE prizes, right? I mean, they're all marked with the shiny bronze. What about relics? Well, same thing. I mean, there's a couple. I had to say no relics. There's a couple of relics on HC Realms that are listed as common. I don't consider them common, so I just said no relics. That's it. So I had to say no relics, just so that it took them out of there. Then somebody turned to me and said, well, what about constructs? Find me a common character that's not a prime, because I did say no primes, because that's actually a rarity above common. I was trying to make it unbelievably inclusive of all people. So, you know, when they said, well, what about constructs? Well, show me a non-prime, non-LE that I can use construct with.
The yellow, just for questioning, the yellow power battery or the retail batteries, those wouldn't be common?
Nope. They'll have to have the bronze tab.
Pardon?
They have the bronze tab. Common is a white tab on the icon. And all the ones...
Maybe, but I wouldn't... They're definitely not LE. It's just retail.
Yeah.
Retail is not always bronze, is it?
Starter pack figures. It's not starter pack, it's not common.
My Indigo wall is bronze, so yeah. And that's from the retail. The gravity feed, so...
And when I say starter set, it's specific to a starter set. A scenario pack is not a starter set. And I think I said fast forces too. But again, scenario pack doesn't fall into those, so that disallows the characters that are in the scenario pack, which actually disallowed a lot of bystanders too. So that question was, can I include a bystander? Well, are they part of a common figure? Are they being brought up by a common figure? So I'm trying to cover a lot of ground inside the tournament. You know, when people say things like, well, the format covers that, the format covers that, and I think the only thing I've had to cover is the relics and specifically non-primes.
Are ID cards okay then?
Common ID cards are fine.
Okay.
As long as you bring out a common figure with them.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of common ID cards that not necessarily work
It's
with.
like the rare ID cards, like the best 2 ID cards are Triathlon and Bucky, and those are rare ones that bring in common characters.
That's right.
Silly Jason.
Yeah. Anyway, it's an idea I'm working on, and it's actually a segue to the Patreon that I'll discuss later on. Obi-Wan Chris, another idea for the lab. Turtle as a pilot for your vehicles. Pop him in at the beginning of your turn, back out at the end of your turn. Take that, you unidentified square.
That's interesting.
It's clever.
Yeah, it is clever. It seems a little bit limited use. It's a lot of points for like a turn, every other turn of being able to use that. Jason, I don't know what's going on with Jordan right now. Yeah, that's fine.
It's an idea. Jay, what do you think? Turtle in a vehicle.
Yeah, it's a thing you could do.
It's 2 of your 3 actions just doing that.
Yeah.
And like, unless you're using the Quinjet, the vehicles don't really carry that many characters. So it's like, how are you moving your team around outside of like the team abilities that let you do move actions don't count against your pool?
2 figures, 2 vehicles. Turn 1, pop both guys into the vehicle. Pass.
Given the vehicles that we have available to us right now, that's at minimum 100 points.
Yeah. Actually, vehicles can move, can do stuff the same turn they're piloted now. They changed that.
No, 2 vehicles, 2 figures. So like Turtle also being part of that.
Yeah. What? Turtles are unique.
Yeah.
But if you're using 2 turtles, you're not winning anyway.
Your other turtle, I would assume like you would use like say like Time Chair, Turtle, and a Sky Cycle, and like the most expensive ranged attacker you can get.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like what he was getting at was the idea was that you pop Turtle into the vehicle. Now your team has full range to move as much as they want, and then at the end of the turn, you pop Turtle back out of the vehicle so your opponent doesn't get that privilege. And you basically rinse and repeat that either every turn or every other turn as you do. And I think that's fine, although, again, that's 2 actions out of your pool just to do it. So whatever is happening in between better be pretty impressive.
Yep. Absolutely. So yeah, it's an approach. It's a thing. Make it work if you can. I'm not sure which vehicle. Like, ideally, you probably want to use a cheap vehicle like the Space Rig is the first one that comes to mind when it comes to that. So pop on your jetpack. Apparently, your trait doesn't work when you're wearing a jetpack, and
Traits rarely do.
Turtle works better than Turtle does anymore. Because you can't carry Turtle anymore to get around a thing because he counts as being on the board still.
Yeah, it is a good way of getting around Turtle's trait. I just don't know that you can really ply it to your strategic advantage in a meaningful way. But hey, when it wins Rocktober, we'll talk about it then.
Yeah, absolutely. when Mike turns to us, was like, dude, this thing with the turtles, like, yeah, somebody was on the show that you missed and mentioned it.
Yeah, it's like the Felix Faust of Rocktober. Just like 75% of the teams are all using Turtle on the vehicle. It'd be amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, that said, we're now moving into the YouTube comments questions. So if you guys have something you want to add to the show, now's your time to get it down there. I'm pointing at the comments section, not that. Pervert.
But Tom, I was just thinking about it for a second. Turtle Vehicle would nerf Turtle Vehicle because one of them would pop it into it, and the other one would just be like, mine staying out.
Yeah. Turtle Vehicle would nerf Turtle Vehicle. We're only talking about one turtle in one vehicle, aren't we?
No, Jason was just like like the Fost. 75% of teams would be using Turtle in a vehicle, and it'd be like nobody would ever get anything done.
It was the roll. That was the October of roll-offs.
Yeah. Now, have we said Turtle in a vehicle enough to put it in people's head, have people start doing it, so Mike will be fine in the tournament, or have we not played the mental game well enough yet?
I'm just waiting for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Van to come out with that set, and then we'll talk about turtles and vehicles.
Turtle in a vehicle. Oh.
Party wagon.
Can't wait for that Master of Disguise set.
You will. All right, guys. So we got one question in the comments section, and that's from Majestic number 10, which is actually that's coming from Patrick. Patrick Yaboko himself, or one of his teammates. I'm not sure which one operates that account.
You've killed the anonymity.
What he says is, I wish they would previewed Sebastian Faust. Just have to wait for the unboxing, I guess. That's going to be their team figures, guys. For winning Team World, they created Sebastian Faust.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. They're really excited, it seems, about people seeing that figure. So hopefully it'll be the first official preview that wasn't started on a stream that's not us.
Yep.
We'll hope to see it very soon.
You know what I don't get?
Look forward to seeing champ figures myself.
Always.
You know what I find a little bit weird?
The Hydra team base.
I wish it was the Hydra team base too. What's up, Jay?
I don't get like half. Well, first of all, I like that we're getting Sebastian Faust now, and then we just got Dr. Druid's son and Nick Fury set, which is kind of a cute thing. But I also don't get like half the time they promote the champion figures so much. Like in the solicits, like I remember like Flash was there, and they previewed Stargirl before, but then like with Shriek, it was like they did the article after release, and like didn't put it in the solicits at all. So it's like.
It's inconsistent. You're right.
Promotion is weird like that.
I gotta say, this had to be a challenge for them because I think most of the design came from one player in a team of 3. How do you give credit to 3 players? Like, how do you do that without opening up a conversation where people are going, well, it took them 3 players to make this?
I also feel like it's the character, like, and how much they can market that character. Like Harley Quinn's Harley Quinn. Like, they were going to market that character regardless of whether it was a champ piece. So they were just like, Jake Williams, Harley Quinn! Jake Williams, Harley Quinn! Harley Quinn! Harley Quinn!
Yeah.
I'm also not thinking that a Faust-related character is the best thing to be making right now.
I was going to say, it's like, wait a second. Another guy named Faust?
Imagine the tragedy if he got banned by The Rock as well.
Yeah.
Although isn't
I think that would be the point where Patrick is like, you know what? I'm out.
He's on the Rock board though, so I guess that wouldn't happen.
It'd be nice if the Majestics guys could see the future and just design it with a trait that said an adjacent figure can ignore any errata issued for the character.
You triggered a reaction out of Amber on that one. And all of Amber's rules knowledge would just disappear, and she'd be angry, and then she'd play that figure just to tick off everybody. It's like, oh yeah, remember that errata I corrected you on last week? Well, guess what? Not today! Oh, God. That would be evil and awesome at the same time.
Would be awesome.
Okay. So that's it for questions today. Thank you guys for watching. As always, and we are, again, brought to you in part by HC Realms. Check out their shop at realmsgaming.com. Use the coupon code MARRIED in order to get 10% off of your purchase and, get some cool stuff. Tom kind of derailed me because I had the chat open on the second. And, of course, as they're interrupting me as I'm about to segue into the Patreon. Check out. We do have a Patreon. Patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. Get you a look at that. We've actually this weekend added another patron, so we're really happy about that. Woo! From the Geek and Sundry stream because we were making a ton of noise there. So we may have used that to advertise ourselves just a little. But we are now at 5 patrons, $66 a month, which puts us $134 away from our new show, which is Practice Night, which I want to get these goons in on as well, but I got to pay them because they're not going to do it of their own volition apparently. And they said they were unionized and they want to get paid on scale, so scale on a Heroclix show that should cover my budget. Wait, what's the per pound pay value on peanuts these days? And then at the $500 per month value, we're looking to increase all of our cameras, which includes these goons over here. And I'm not sure who it is echoing at me, so we need this. And if we hit the $800 value, which is the one that I mentioned earlier, we are going to open up a tournament. And the all-common format is the one I'm working on for it. The idea is it's a super competitive, yet also super inclusive format. So what I have right now is commons only, fast forces, and starter pack figures are also allowed. And yes, that will include this year's free comic book day 2-figure starter, because those are not purple ringed and they're white tabbed. Also, this is all again working on no relics, because some of them are listed as common on HC Realms, and no primes. The idea is that it's the same pool everybody gets to work with. It's a limited pool of figures, so it's as close to seal as we can possibly get, but you all get a choice. And even the newest of new will have a stack of commons that they got from a buddy. It will be modern age to kind of limit the pool even further and limit the rules questions, because golden age gets messy. Anyway, this is the idea we're getting at. If we hit $800 a month, we're going to have a budget for this tournament. The idea is we're going to send prizes to whatever venue runs this. First venue will probably be one of our venues locally, just to kind of get the testing out of it. And the idea is to make a free entry tournament. So all that money should cover everything that's needed for the prizing, for the tournament, etc. So, yeah, that's our goal. Our ultimate goal is to have the Married with Clicks tournament series. Us on this show, we're looking to hit $200 to get us their practice night show. And, you know, if we get $500 per month for a couple months, I'll get these guys some better equipment. As well, the bonuses for being a patron, if you are a patron at even the lowest value, $1, you get access to our patron update, as well as our monthly patron hangout, which is this Friday. So if you want in on that, get your patron pledges in soon, because it'll be everybody who paid come October 1st will be allowed in on that. And then if you hit the $5 per month, which I went and clicked instead of just highlighted, you also get access to what I just said, and you also get access to a downloadable version of our show, and early access to our non-live shows. Like, so I can't give you early access to this because that would require time travel. I don't have that.
The higher Patreon goal.
Yeah. It's so then next at the $10 per month value, you get access to all of the above, plus you also get our monthly tokens. We're going to be giving out action tokens, maybe hopefully by Big Bully Games. We have to contact them soon because we almost have enough for an order of 10. I actually have to put out a message for the delay on those. As well, you get all the above that I mentioned, so early access to the show, access to the monthly patron, and so on. Then at the $25 level, we do have regular patrons for that. You get to build mine and Amber's team during the month for our games. And at the $50 per month level, you get to join our show here. And you get to be one of the talking heads that gets berated and yapped at incessantly as we do to each other. As well, if you choose not to be a patron, nothing changes. You get you just don't get these small bonuses, but you do get the show. You get to reap the benefits of the show. And these extra shows that we do put on will be actually available to everybody. Our patrons were the ones responsible for bringing that to everybody, so they get things like early access to it and their bonuses. As well, come October, we will have the funding for our new show, which me and Amber deconstruct teams, both in the rules and strategic forms of the teams. So our first team is actually going to be Easton Brock's team. We're going to deconstruct that from the top down, how it works functionally and rules, as Amber's going to cover, and myself strategically how the Quinjet works in its best forms, and how to use the collection of things that he used in conjunction with each other as a whole. So that's ultimately our goals as far as things go. And then yeah, so that's the show for today, guys. So I want to thank Tom, Jordan, and Jay for joining me. Thank you, Tom.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. And thank you, Jay. And guys, don't forget, practice
makes
Jordan. Jordan.
I'm team.
No, you're yours.
What?
It
Read
says
the order.
right there.
Jason, Tom, Jordan, Jay.
I see
Yes.
Jason
Jay.
practice, Tom
Jordan.
makes, Jay your Jordan team.
That's Tom's.
Tom's was better.
All right, fine. Practice. Tom.
Makes.
Jay.
Your
Jordan.
Team.
Better.
exclamation point.
Both directed at the phrase and at Jordan.
No,
Okay,
you know
guys.
what? I just want to point out